Hi, I'm Peter Smith, and I'm here today to talk to you about the topic that open learning just doesn't have to be lonely. You know, we all know that when you're learning online, you are alone in the sense that you're sitting at your computer, and that kind of aloneness can run across a vast horizon. You can be in a group course, you can be in a webinar, or you can be in a self-directed course all by yourself. And we know that learning is a social activity and that people have to, in fact, understand how what they're doing connects to other people and to the rest of their lives in order to be strong in their learning. I think there are really two aspects to loneliness. One is, as I was just describing, that learning is an isolated activity in an open environment. You do it alone, but we try to give you other kinds of support services so that you don't feel alone. But the other kind of loneliness is far more subtle and I think tougher to work with, and especially given a traditional model of education. It's being isolated from the work you're actually doing. In other words, we have people involved in degree programs and may not actually know how that degree program ties to their history, ties to their future. They're in it, but they're not of it. And that kind of loneliness can be extremely debilitating, and that kind of isolation can really cut a person off from any kind of intention to finish their studies. So when you're addressing loneliness, you want to think about the following questions. Helping a learner answer the question, why am I doing what I'm doing? If I don't know how the course of study, the path forward, connects to my past, how it connects to my aspirations for the future, if I haven't got a personal connection to what I'm doing, that's a problem. And you have the whole notion of being, if you will, an ant in the anthill of life. In other words, just one of a mass of people. We're at a time when we can mass personalize, where we can help learners make personal sense out of what they're doing and derive great kind of strength by being in community and seeing how the learning they're doing connects their past to their future. That starts with a notion of making sure that the learning people do, they know how it is relating to what they already know. So what have we done about it at the Open College at Kaplan University? Really what we've got is a personalized learning concierge service where what we're trying to do is focus initially on the student experience, but also helping them understand what that experience has taught them, and then from that deriving a path forward. It might include a degree, it might not initially include a degree, but what we're doing is creating a personal context for each learner that allows them to understand the connection between where they've been and where they're going, and why what they're doing will get them where they're going, and why it's important. So they become an active player, if you will, in the design and the construction and the doing and the assessing of their own learning. One good example. I believe that reflection is the process by which you extract meaning from experience. In other words, how do you look at something you've done, understand it, understand how it has changed you, how you are different as a result of that. So it's not simply the doing of the course, it's what the course and the learning meant to you. And as you help people become active reflectors, you're helping them become active lifelong learners, because I think the two actually go right together. So how do we get where we are? We started with a course called LRC, Learning Recognition 100, which is a free and open self-paced prior learning assessment course. And what we found was that without having free and live support, accessible support over the phone or online, people were much less prone to complete the course successfully. But when we, in fact, wrapped them into an environment where they were doing this reflective work and being able to connect with other people, they did much better. And as they gave us feedback about the portfolio development process, we began to build and adapt a much more personalized approach to every single person taking the case. And what were the lessons that we learned and then began to replicate? You can have a free and an open self-paced environment, combine it with live support, have a flexible and customized product, and then you're in the game, if you will, in terms of being able to work with a lot of people, but in a very personal way. So when I'm thinking about the characteristics that ought to be present, if you will, in a community environment to eliminate loneliness, I think of the following things. One is, as I've described 2 or 3 times already, personalization. The individual has to be personally connected to what they're doing. The notion of helping them make sense out of the myriad resources that are on the web, using free and open resources and assessments, but the notion that they're the ones out there doing the work. Giving them a degree program, which we have done in the Bachelor of Professional Studies, that lets them self-design their major. Understanding that we all live with one foot in a formal learning environment, but another foot in the informal or non-formal learning environment. Informal, non-formal learning happens all the time. The average adult spends more than 700 hours a year doing informal learning. How can we bring that out, make it meaningful and recognizable to the individual and also to other entities as valuable learning that can be assigned an academic value? Understanding that you learn at work and you learn in your personal life, and helping people begin to think about those things as they are at work and just going through their daily routines. We have set it up so that the degree is not a requirement, it's a choice. That too often people have to get into a degree program in order to get other kinds of services and recognitions. We have flattened that playing field so we can design the learning path with the learner informally or more formally, with a degree program or without a degree program. And we're providing support structures, apps, some really interesting advising and other opportunities for the informal learning. So there's a place you can store your learning, there's a place you can self-assess, and all the time we're helping you think about the meaning of what you're doing. I think as we enter the world, I'm going to call it, of mass personalization, the thing to remember is you're not going to have 1 million solutions for 1 million learners. You may only have 100 solutions for 1 million learners. What you need for every learner, though, is personal meaning and commitment and connection to what it is they're doing. If you establish that connection, helping them understand their past and how they got to where they are, understanding where it is they ultimately want to go and why, understanding what the path is to get them from where they are to where they want to go. If you help them do that, you have mass personalization that is unique to every single learner. And if you do that, that's when open doesn't have to be lonely. Thanks a lot.